Hey loves, welcome back to another episode of The Intuitive Wanderers. I'm your host Asha, and here we build ourselves. We manifest healthy versions of ourselves so that we can create a life that we want to live, but not only create a life that we want to live, we're able to sustain that manifestation, okay? So let's get started. Today's topic is going to be about when you have identified as being a people pleaser, you have burned out, and now you're questioning if you should end all of your long-term relationships with your friends, families, and your partner. So if you are in that boat where you feel like, oh my gosh, I have finally realized that I have been abandoning myself for far too long, and I am sick of that, but I don't know how to move forward in these established relationships, this video is for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Before we get started, I want to just talk about how it's a really beautiful day today, and as you probably know from every other video that I have, I absolutely love sitting in my car, relaxing, finding a nice beautiful park to just catch some beautiful scenery, enjoy the wind. So I am parked, I am safe, and if you see me looking back and forth and around, I'm just checking out my surroundings. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So for my personal experience, I can truly say that I am so blessed and I have such amazing people in my life. And I have often struggled with coming into this awareness that I have abandoned parts of myself in order to sustain these kind of relationships. And it's been difficult for me because I'm the type of person that takes responsibility for what I've done, and I don't expect other people to meet my needs readily. And I say that lightly because I don't ever want it to come off that any of the friendships or all of the friendships, all of the relationships that I've had in my life, these people have just been like, oh, I see that Asha needs something. Oh, whatever. I don't want to put it that way. What I'd like to look at it more as, I attract people who are really good at asking for what they need, showing up for themselves. And I, on the other hand, I feel like I attract those kind of people so that I can learn how to do that for myself. So I've had some friendships, I've had some family ships, I've had some relationships with my boo that I have had to learn how to kind of shift. And it's probably more dramatic than it needs to be, but I have had to put myself first, and I've had to trust that by putting myself first, I'm not gonna lose these relationships, and if I do lose these relationships, then they weren't meant for me to begin with. And I think that's a really difficult thing as a people pleaser, because we're recovering people pleasers. We are recovering from the habit and the skill, the immaculate skill of pleasing others and being there for others and meeting other people's needs so that they like us, so that they love us, so that they want to connect with us. So I think there was a oversized perception of, if I put myself first, people are not going to love me, no matter how long the relationship has been. And when you have that perception of yourself, everything you see is filtered through that lens. So even if my beloved friends, my partner, my parents, my family members didn't really feel that way, weren't going to abandon me, I perceived it as such. And I continued down the rabbit hole of, well, I guess I just have to people please. Well, I guess I just have to keep this dynamic as it is. Another thing that I noticed is, because of that, and because I'm human and I'm going to eventually burn out, when I was getting to those points of wanting to burn out, I would get very attitudinal with people. I would get very distant with people. And I just noticed that pattern of me wanting to kind of just walk away, be by myself, be more introverted than I already am. And I've noticed that pattern. And I think the first part of that step was realizing, okay, I realize this is an issue. I realize that this is my perception and this is filtering and coloring my reality. But it still doesn't take away the fear of, if I show up being different than how I've been in the past, I'm still afraid that I'm going to lose these relationships. And while I don't want to lose these relationships, I'm like in fight or flight. Like, I'm ready to really own this and take care of myself at this point. So I've been moving through giving myself grace, giving the people in my life grace, and trusting that I have the right to lovingly ask for what it is that I need. And I'll be completely honest with you, with several of my relationships, friendships, family ships, and my partner, I've had to fully separate, like have a no contact kind of situation. And I think a big part of that no contact situation was not only to kind of detach and break that codependency, but also to self-regulate and ground myself, right? So all of those feelings that started to come up of like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to this person in a couple of days, they're gonna hate me. Or, oh my gosh, this person keeps asking me to hang out and I keep saying no. Oh my gosh, they're gonna be upset with me. They're gonna be confused. I had to continuously ground myself and say, it's okay. I get to prioritize myself. I get to love on myself. I get to do what I need to do for myself. I get to ask for what I need. And I get to do that in a way that's not defensive or combative or anxious. So I continuously had to stabilize myself and embody that version of me that knows I can be myself. I can have my moments of feeling depressed. I can have my moments of feeling anxious. I can have my moments of not wanting to be bothered. I can accept all parts of me and trust that anybody who loves me and wants to be in a relationship with me is going to accept that. And they're going to embrace that. And I'm not going to have to prove or convince myself. So to be a little more specific, some of the things that I've had to do with certain relationships, is I've had to be completely honest with where I'm at. And I've done it in a way that's very like about me. Like, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling down, I'm in a space right now where I just need to kind of take care of myself. I love you, I appreciate you, this is what I'm needing from you. I haven't been in that space where I'm like blaming people, like, oh, if you wouldn't have done this, I wouldn't be here. And I don't think many people pleasers do that outwardly. I think we may do that in our minds sometimes, but that was a huge thing for me. Another thing that I really worked on was bracing myself for that person's reaction. I could say, hey friend, hey bae, hey mom, whatever, I need this space, but I had to allow space for that person to be like, what the fuck? Or be upset or be angry or be frustrated. And I had to learn how to accept them and accept their reaction and not take it personal and not change what I decided for myself. And I think that's like a really important piece for people who like think that they're people pleasers or who have abandoned themselves in order to be available to other people. We already don't like confrontation, so it's easier to just go with the flow until you burn out than it is to be like, oh no, I don't want to do this, and anticipate the reaction of that person. So that was one of the things too. Of course, if you feel like you need to detach from somebody, always do it lovingly and kind as you can. Be understanding of the fact that you just switched it up on somebody and they may not understand. And while you do not have to explain yourself or convince, they have the right to feel the way that they want to feel. And in doing so, that mirrors back to you that you have the right to feel the way that you want to feel, and you have the right to react in the way that you need to react. So that was very validating. That helped me hold a lot of compassion for not only myself, but for the people that I was switching up on. And speaking of switching up on, I want to point out the fact that we have this culture of, being loyal to people and, holding people down and committing to people. And while that's all fun and nice, you can't commit to the extent, like, your ability to commit to another person can only go as far as your commitment to yourself. Your ability to be loyal to someone can only go as far as you are able to be loyal to yourself. And that's one of the things that I've had to realize. Putting myself first is of service to other people. Prioritizing my needs is of service to other people. Because when I fill my cup up and I'm in a space where I'm just like, I feel so full, I feel alive, I'm not looking to manipulate people. Because essentially, as a people pleaser, that is what we're doing. We are manipulating. We're kind of like, I'm just subconsciously unaware, but I'm going to do everything that this person likes and hope that they'll come back around. And that was a sobering realization for me, because I didn't see it that way. And I guess because I had just been doing it for so long, I didn't even realize I was getting to that point where I couldn't breathe, or I couldn't, I wasn't taking care of myself. So in doing that, in grounding yourself in your decision to prioritize yourself, you are going to experience resistance. You are going to experience doubt. You are going to experience discomfort. And being able to still ground yourself and comfort yourself is going to really strengthen you and give you the confidence to know that you have the ability to take care of yourself, meet your needs, and still have everything that you want. So as I've been going through this phase of having to be honest with friends, ask for what I need, let go of some people, shift dynamics with other people, it's been a big space of the unknown, right? And the unknown, as beautiful as it can be, it's terrifying because my friend of 20 years, I'm literally telling them, like, I need space from you. And I don't know if that friend is going to react in a way that's like, okay, I get it. Or if they're going to just like be like, boom. And as much as you want to be cool and act like I'm gonna take care of me, I come first, we are relational human beings. We are tribal human beings. We like to connect with people. So when you lose someone in your life, even if it makes sense and you know why you're doing it, you're still gonna experience the feelings of change and grief and sadness and confusion and doubt. So I really want to hold space for that, because I don't want people to think that it's just easy to cut people off, or it's easy to distance yourself and detach, but it's still necessary if you want to have a better go round in that relationship, so that both people are content and happy. And I have been doing this, like I said, lately with a lot of my relationships of all kinds, and I'm grateful to say that with every person, we have come back together stronger, right? And coming into my more esoteric thought, everything that I'm experiencing, everything that I'm feeling, it's and seeing, it's a projection, right? It's a projection, it's a complete mirror. So my doubt and my fear of the unknown is really silly, because I'm literally creating as I go. So everything that I'm fearful of, everything that I'm uncertain of, it's nothing to fear, right? I feel like I hear somebody talking. I don't know if somebody's talking loud as hell. So maybe I'll end this video. But just to summarize, if you are a person who has identified as a people pleaser, or you have notice within yourself, I'm abandoning myself in order to keep friendships, relationships, partnerships, friendships, family ships, whatever it is, whatever dynamic it is, if you feel like you are abandoning some part of you in order to keep these people, I want to encourage you to step further and not just blame that person, not just question what they did or what they can do better, but recognize that this is a call to action. And that call to action is for you to not abandon yourself and to take care of yourself, and recognize that in doing so, it's going to take a second, but in doing so, the more that you ground yourself in that embodying of, I get to take care of myself, I get to prioritize myself and have an amazing relationship and have an amazing family ship. When you do that, things come around full circle. So I hope this wasn't too much of a blab. I hope it makes sense to you. If you have questions, let me know. But until then, thanks for listening, and we'll catch up another time. Bye.